Zombie Foreclosures. Other than just being a really fun name, it's an opportunity for you to get a killer deal in this market. No zombie pun intended on that one. So let's talk about them. Let's go. What's going on, everybody? It's Hans Struzyna with the Gunderman Group at Keller Luxury International, coming to you with another video today. What I want to talk to you about is another iteration of a foreclosure that you should be aware of, because it's not going to show up in the traditional way like we talked about last week with foreclosures versus short sales. Link to that up here. As you may have seen in that video, if you check that one out, there were about 6 foreclosures and short sales in the immediate Bay Area at the time of that video, which was about a week ago. And simply, it's just a very, very small, teensy-weensy fraction of the overall homes for sale in the greater Bay Area, which according to the MLS was like 9,300 at the time. So nothing in the grand scheme of it all. However, what we're talking about today is a zombie foreclosure. No, that is not made up. Yes, that is the technical term. And if you're anyone who knows me or you're anything like me, you love everything zombie related. I'm a huge zombie fan. Walking Dead, Dawn of the Dead, all that stuff. I'm totally into it. Zombie apocalypse, you name it, I got it. In any event, so I wanted to make this video, not just because it's a fun topic to consider and talk about, but also because it's an opportunity for someone looking for a deal here in the East Bay. So let's get into this. First of all, what is a zombie foreclosure? So a zombie foreclosure, simply put, is a house that has it found itself in an undead situation, meaning the sellers have left and are not taking care of the property. They're not living there, but the bank has not taken the property through the foreclosure process either. So it's kind of in this limbo state. So the seller sort of gets behind on payments, gets the default notice, just moves out, assumes they gave possession back to the bank, or just wants to walk away literally, and does so. And the bank is still trying to contact that person, but they're nowhere to be found. So this house is sort of in limbo in the middle, hence the name zombie foreclosure. So basically, no one's keeping the property up, no one's making payments on the taxes, the insurance, obviously not the mortgage, but the foreclosure process hasn't gone through all the way. So it's literally like an abandoned house. It's an opportunity for a couple of reasons. Number one, if you can do the legwork and track down that owner and find them, and it's an opportunity to make them an offer, potentially help them go through the short sale, or simply just buy the house from them, bring the note current, assume the loan if that's possible on that particular loan, and take over the house without having to bid, and frankly get rid of that person's problem. Obviously, if someone's not living there and maintaining the house, there will be some pretty obvious signs that the yard is overgrown, there's probably a lot of debris, the house is looking weathered and worn, etc., etc. And when you find that and you cross-reference it with the foreclosure notices that are on the public record, you may have found yourself a zombie foreclosure. That's the easy part. Of course, the hard part is finding the owner. The problem is that they probably don't want to be found, right? So that is not going to be the simplest of detective work. But if you do find them, you can potentially negotiate yourself a pretty sweet deal, because clearly they don't want the property anymore. And more importantly, they probably just want to have it done because they frankly thought they were done in the first place, hence why they just left. One other thing to note, a way that a zombie foreclosure can occur is when the property gets through the foreclosure process, but then the bank kind of does their analysis of how much work it's going to take to fix it up, pay the back taxes, and obviously get the loan current and get that whole loan paid back, and realize that financially they would lose money if they did all of that work. So they're just not going to do it, and then they leave the foreclosure. They don't proceed with the foreclosure, leave it in the original owner's name, and that original owner still, or frankly, has no idea that it's been in their name. I actually had an experience with one of these once. Real quick story. I called the owner back when I was cold calling a lot of foreclosures and asked him about this house that was in East Oakland. It was actually a duplex. And he said, "Oh, I don't have that anymore." I was like, "Well, you are, according to the tax records, the legal owner still." And he's like, "Oh, well, if that's the case, then go check it out." And it turns out that there were people living in it. And so I called him. I said, "Hey, it looks like you've got tenants in there. What's going on?" Because it wasn't like a squatter situation. People were keeping it up. It looked good. But he had no idea that A, he even owned this house. And then once we figured out he actually did own the house still, B, he didn't even have tenants. Someone had actually somehow gotten the keys to this property, put tenants in there, and was collecting rent payments not to the owner and not sending any of that to the owner. It was a crazy situation. So yeah, unfortunately, it didn't turn out super well. The tenants had to move out, and someone bought it at the foreclosure steps, but it was a total nightmare. So I can tell you that this stuff exists. People shockingly do not know that they still own property, or they think they handled it and they didn't. This stuff exists. And the reason it's a big opportunity is it's not obvious. It's not going to show up as a foreclosure. It's not going to show up as a short sale or an REO. You have to put a couple layers together, track some people down to figure out that this is in fact a zombie foreclosure and that it then could be an opportunity. If you are willing to go drive around, look at foreclosure lists and do that layer and layer of research, you might have yourself a pretty good deal. Hopefully you got some value out of that, and if you did, subscribe to the channel, give the video a thumbs up, because you know I'm going to keep putting out content just like this and you're not going to want to miss it. So without any further ado, let's get on out of here. This is Hans Struzyna with the Gunderman Group at Keller Williams Luxury International, signing off for now. See you guys on the next one.